Welcome to the countdown. While you wait for the show to begin, try to relax, grab a drink, sit down, and just enjoy.
Okay, a little bit of land goes a long, long way. Sign the lease, bring the rings today. Everybody say, money, 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 more money, money, more money, money is my God, money is my God, money is my God, money is my God.
She looks metallic. Metallic.
Though I can't quite recall overnight sensation.
Welcome to the Chop. Drag Race Season 14, Episode 12, The Rusical. Another filler episode, yes, I know. So, this week is going the way it's going. So, it's going a little bit like shit. And I am prepared as best as I can, but, it's not like there's much to talk about this episode, so we'll see what comes out of it. Let's greet the chat first. We have Metalhead Girl, Carton Riley, Vanessa, Roman, COP, Deborah, Emily, Sasha, Veronica, Sen, Space Cactus Cowboy, Ectomora, Orchid Dude, Christos, Sing Blue Silver, Felicia, Listen for 20, Melissa Leone, Gregory Guerra, Quadonte, Papao, Spicy Icy, Jackna, Norveg, Damien, George, Zoe, Delta Schleen, Ferret Fair, Jules, Blue Maiden, Sarah C, Joey, D15, SKK Art, Yelko, Martina Sullivan, and Blazing, and everybody else that joined right now. Thank you so much for coming. Christos says, Bestie, I got the job from last week's interview. I'm luckier than Bosco. That's great. Let's celebrate with some good old liquid energy. So maybe that I wake up tonight. Hector, you're my favorite top. Allegedly. Allegedly. Don't forget that. Okay, so, first of all, let's set the record straight. I didn't get the Rona. My parents got the Rona. That's why I'm actually streaming here tonight, because I had to cancel my flight, and we'll see when I manage to go back. So for the moment, finger crossed, and we'll see what happens. Going to take it day by day. What are we going to do tonight? We're going to have a shorter stream than usual because I'm fairly destroyed. Maybe a little bit of Kiki time later on. As usual, comments at top RPDR videos, super chats or Patreon if you want to support the channel. Let's just dive in and see what happens. I also want to try something new, like having live video, see if it's possible, if it works, if it's easier to manage than screenshots. We're going to check it out and see if it works. So, welcome to the shop, and in this episode we have the Drag Gods. They have actually spoken. It's another filler episode. We have a lackluster Rusical, more peaks and valleys in Lady Camden's storyline, everyone against Bosco, the Cryptiques, and then some final speculations. Did I say Lady Camden? I meant Lady British. Jules, I've been isolating for 7 days. Tested positive, but it's okay. Lots of watching and re-watching. Well, as long as you keep yourself busy. But it's a shitty situation. Really is a shitty situation. Okay, let's begin. So we are back in the workroom and we have this moment in the mirror. Now, don't mind too much Jasmine's spelling. It's not like they wrote each other's name in there. they write it the way they feel like they should be spelled. So that doesn't really matter. But Jasmine left a message and said to Angeria, Deja, and Georges to go all the way. So basically, of the 7 queens left in there, yes, it's 7 queens, and it's episode 12. Next episode will be episode 13, and we will still have 7 queens, which is half of them. It's a shit ton of queens to be on episode 13. But whatever. So they left a message in there, and apparently nobody congratulated Lady British or Bosco or Willow or Diabetes, but Diabetes is the only one that we see. Diabetes is the only one coming in a confessional, having a good laugh, saying, well, you know what, Jasmine, you're not here. And you see, they're really doing Diabetes a huge favor, because she is always shady as usual, but they always show us that she is taking it lightly. It's always a little bit of a joke. Yeah, she is petty, but she's not petty in a nasty way, if you know what I mean. It would have been really easy to make her come off as nasty. It would have been really easy. But it didn't happen. So at this point, since we've seen it happen over and over and over again, and basically she has a whole new edit all for herself, I hope that whatever they are doing with Diabetes will stick. And instead of having the old villains that we used to have way before, we start having Heathers. You know, people that can bring a little bit of shade, a little bit of realness. Yes, why not? A little bit of tea, but always lighthearted, always in a fun way. Because after all, this is how we get a proper show. Damien says, why was Jasmine's message so long when she could have just written congratulations Angeria? I don't know. It wasn't that long, actually. You're forgetting Ben de la Creme's message in season 6. She really wrote a poem in there. COP, the Rona can keep a good queen down, unless you are Top's parents. I hope so. So, RuPaul comes in. She announces the maxi challenge for the episode. We don't have any mini challenge because there is no advertisement apparently, so they don't have to push any of those stuff, you know. So we don't have a mini advertisement. We jump directly to the maxi challenge, which is going to be a rusical, a kind of lackluster rusical, because I don't know about you, I kind of struggled to keep my eyes open. I was sleeping halfway through that, so it's a filler challenge during a filler episode, however you feel about it. I'm happy for you if you enjoyed it. Let's say it like this. I'm happy for you if you enjoyed it. So, production actually lets the queens assign the roles by themselves, which is a very, very smart decision because it caused a shit ton of drama. And this is exactly what makes the show interesting, you know? It's a good kind of drama. It's not a nasty kind of drama. So, it was a perfect decision. They should do this every single challenge. Just let the queens assign the roles by themselves, decide for themselves, dig their own grave if they're going to dig their own grave, or get them a chance to get a role that it's actually fit for them. But whatever happens in the end, they can always shift the responsibility on the queens. They can always say, you know what, they decided, we didn't do anything, which from a production point of view, it's a very good idea. And if it stirs the pot a little bit, then it's even better. Now, in this scene, one thing that we see first is, and I'm mentioning this because I really want to reward this behavior. This is something that was shared on Twitter, and it was one of Angeria's confessional with a very good, yeah, whatever, with a very visible, very audible Franken sentence in there. Now, let's see if I can actually play this. Where's the video? Okay, it's not here. Maybe it's here. Is it this one? Oh, it's this one. Okay, will it play? That's an interesting question. Okay, let's see if it plays.
I feel like this time around choosing roles is gonna be a little more difficult.
Let's listen. All right, let's listen to this.
Because we're getting to the point of the competition where the judges have to notice you.
Let's listen to it once more. Oh my god, it's working.
To the point of the competition where the judges have to notice you.
What the hell did she say? Because she didn't mean the judges, so she apparently meant something else. I think what she actually meant was the audience have to notice you, because this point of the competition, from Angeria's point of view, is the point in which they have half of the queens. So I bet that she has no idea how many episodes this thing is still going, but it's basically the top 7, so it's time for people to actually notice you. So this is what I think she said. Another interesting thing that happens in here, apart from the whole discussion between Lady British and Bosco, is that we get a sneak peek of the notes that were actually given to the queens. So apparently all of the characters have outfits that are already decided by production. Now, I tried to match these outfits that we see on the notes with the ones that actually appeared on the main stage, and they kind of match, but they are not exactly the same, which leads me to believe that they are more suggestions. Okay, it's like an idea of what the character should be wearing, and then the queens will have to get whatever they have in their wardrobe and try to match, at least color match, the kind of outfits that have been suggested by production. Why am I saying this? Well, because while seeing this page, one might think, wait a minute, maybe production is actually the dresses are actually provided by production. And I don't think so, because that would be extremely challenging, because you have thinner girls, taller girls, bigger girls. You would have to fit everything in the moment, and that can take some time. And as you know, when they film Drag Race, it's basically, it's really a race. It's really a race. So they work for a long time, they work long days, and they try to do as much as they can as quick as possible. Because remember, filming, it's one of the shortest periods that goes into the production of the actual show. Post-production is actually the period that takes the most time, the most effort. So you want to go through filming like really quickly. That's why I think those dresses are more like suggestions. So this is something that maybe a lot of people didn't think when the queens actually decided to choose a specific character. That could have also been motivated by the fact that they could actually have something to serve that was in line with what production wanted them to actually get. So we have this whole scene in which the queens assign the roles. We have a little bit of drama going on a little bit. Well, it's a long scene between Bosco and Lady. They're almost at each other's throat because both of them want the role of Saltine. Now, was it a smart decision to push so much for a role? Yes and no. Yes, because if you think that you can do a very good job with it, like an outstanding job with it, then by all means go for it. But if you're not going to be outstanding, you are basically serving the producers a storyline right there. Because what happens between Bosco and Lady is definitely going to be the storyline for the whole episode. Now, I watched Bosco's performance. I don't think it was necessarily deserving of the bottom. But I think it worked very well with the whole storyline for the episode, because we have two queens fighting for a part right there. By the end of it, one is going to win, the other one is going to be eliminated, allegedly eliminated. So it's kind of convenient. So you see that what's happening in there is already priming everyone for the convenient storyline that will just happen to go on later on. It's just a coincidence. Didn't happen by chance. It did definitely happen by chance. Wink, wink. Chat, what do you think? Guido says, I'm so tired of musicals that are just RuPaul's songs. Like, we've gotten that so many times. There is a reason for that. I'm going to show you later. David, just dropping to say hello, have fun, and good night. Thank you so much. Damien, they had a whole 3 days to learn the choreo. Did they, though? Because I don't think that they learned it in an afternoon. That is for sure. I thought they would get at least another day on top of that, so that they would have a day and a half. I don't think that they would have necessarily given them 2 days and a half. It's still a possibility, but no, I don't think so. I don't think so. It would be nice if we get some tea from the Roscoe's viewing party. Like, that you have the queens in there telling you, oh yes, we rehearsed for this much time. That would be nice. Barrethort said they had a whole weekend. Why do the queens not sing in musicals anymore? That's a nice question. Willow said it at Roscoe's. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Then I'm going to add it in the episode. Thank you for the reference. Thank you for the reference. So a whole weekend, 3 days. Well, I would like to say that it shows, but it's not really their fault. It's not really their fault. I mean, you have to work with what you have. Sometimes you manage to turn it, sometimes you don't. So after this, we have a whole scene of Lady British realizing that no matter what happens, she shouldn't put herself down. She can work with the character. She can turn it. She can do this. And, after everything that went on with Bosco, Lady will rise from the ashes and win the challenge and conclude her mini story arc in the episode. So we move on to rehearsal, and something interesting happens in rehearsal because we see 3 queens that are doing very well, and those queens are Lady, which is going to win the challenge, Georges, which is going to be in the bottom, and Bosco, which is going to be in the bottom as well. Yet somehow all of these 3 queens we are shown as if they're doing very well during rehearsal. But, it's kind of to keep you on edge. While Angeria, Willow are kind of doing okay-ish. It's not that bad. It's peaks and valleys, since Michelle likes to say it so much. And we don't see anything from Deja and Daya. They just disappeared. It was not their episode to shine. It was not their episode to appear too much on screen. It was not about them. So we just don't see them. We just don't see them. We also have no singing, so there is no recording of lyrics. Apparently, we don't do that in the musicals anymore. We just see a little bit of choreography, and that's it. This is what we get. This is basically what we get, which is not much. Arno, you need to watch the last Roscoe's if you haven't yet. I haven't watched it yet. Yeah, I had a kind of a rough weekend. I was preparing my baggage yesterday morning and part of the review, and then I didn't leave, so I had to, whatever. No, I haven't watched it yet. I will watch it tomorrow, that is for sure. Barrethord, it was a great viewing party, by the way. They're all great for me. Like, the vast majority of the time, it's a great viewing experience watching the Roscoe's viewing party. When it's bad, it's how can I say? When it's bad, it's just entertaining. Okay, so I think it's a great viewing, the Roscoe's. Also, the queens are allowed to spill a little bit of tea here and there, which is not necessarily a bad thing, not even for production, because they never say too much about the things in which they shouldn't say too much. They, spill a little tea here and there, which is not really hurting anybody, but still makes the show more interesting. It makes it make more sense, like the time when they spilled that the category for Snatch Game was actually worship. So, are you planning on watching tomorrow Drag Race España episode 1? No. No. I finished watching Thailand season 1, and the subtitles nearly destroyed my brain. So I need a little bit of relaxing from that point of view. Arno, sorry to hear it. Must have been stress. Yes, it was stressful, but I was more worried. More worried. Okay, let's move on back to the workroom because the Queens, it's the day after, the week after, whenever it is, it's after all of the rehearsals. And we're back in the workroom for a little bit of mirror moments. So we have a mirror moment for Bosco. This is our first mirror moment. And we have a mini mirror moment for Georges. Not much happens in here. We just have Lady Camden skipping in the workroom because, you know, she's so shy and introverted and silent and in the background, all of these things. But I'm sure that by the end of this, she will find her personality. Notable thing that happens in here. We have Diabetic complaining that the workroom feels kind of strange without Jasmine. And I completely understand that. I miss Jasmine in the workroom as well. I wouldn't have thought that I would have missed Jasmine this much. Like, I can feel the absence of Jasmine in there. Like, I'm still happy that Willow is in there. I'm still happy to see Angeria, but other than that, I'm more like, okay, it's basically the end of the season. This could easily be the last episode for me. That's how it felt. It felt like, you know, that filler last episode that you get before the reunion and the finale. Really, nothing happened. Nothing happened. So we move on to the main stage so that we can have a peek of RuPaul in her attire from her album Mamaru. You know, the one with Blame It on the Edit. That inspiring song from Amaru. Yeah, that's that look. She probably went to the photo shoot before going to the main stage. So, what can I tell you about this Rusical? Well, for me, it's very difficult to review it. It's almost impossible to review it. Why? Well, because first of all, the girls don't sing. So we don't even see a rehearsal with the singing. Yes, it's autotune, but at least we would get a little bit of information, at least from the rehearsal. But they don't sing because it's actually the whole Rusical is remixes of RuPaul songs. Why is RuPaul songs, you ask? Well, because RuPaul's company, which is called Ruco Inc., is the one that actually apparently holds the right to all of RuPaul's song. And Ruco Inc. gives the license to World of Wonder to play RuPaul's music, which means they get money from it. So, you see, it's pretty convenient that we have RuPaul's music in there because it brings more money for Mamaru, not to mention a lot of shout out to a ton of different songs from RuPaul. If you ask me, it was a waste of time. You had a composer right there. Why not write original music for the Rusical? That would have been actually interested. I don't care about remixes of RuPaul songs. I mean, it's already a huge compliment to call their songs. We don't even need remixes of those. But nevertheless, this is what we get, and this is already I'm already a little bit pissed while I'm watching this. I'm a little bit indisposed, let's say it like this. Now, on top of all of this, there is a ton of editing magic going on because, as usual, this was probably filmed twice, like every challenge that we see on the main stage. So we have two different takes, which makes it difficult to understand who actually did very well, who actually did very bad, because you can hide mistakes as much as you can highlight them, and you can do the same with good performances. You can hide them or you can highlight them, because you have two different takes to choose from. And it's not as easy to spot as it was with the Sweatsicle, because you remember the Sweatsicle. It was the Rusical from season 13. Apparently, they didn't have the air conditioning that they had this year, so everybody was sweating profusely. And by tracking the sweat, it was actually very easy to distinguish the two takes. So we don't have this in here. Nevertheless, I am pretty sure I noticed a ton of stitching in there. On top of that, each of the two takes was not filmed in one go, because at some point you can see that the footage has been spliced together in order to allow for having this kind of seamless transitions between two different acts that feature different queens on stage. So I don't know if you see it, but in the image that let me see if I can enlarge it a little bit for you, so maybe you can see a little bit better. Okay, these are two consecutive moments. As you can see, the queens are facing the other way, and they kind of trying to put them in the same positions between the two different takes to make it look as if they never moved, yet, you know, some other queens appeared in the center of the stage. So there is a lot of stitching, there is a lot going around. It's very, very difficult to understand what the hell is going on in here. So the only way in which I can give you an opinion on it, it's basically on face value. And on face value, I was so bored. I was so bored. This musical was... I'm not even sure that boring is the right word, because when you're bored, at least you're still conscious to realize that you are actually bored. I was falling asleep watching this. So I don't know, I'm sure there's a word for that, which is not boring, but that's how I felt. It was difficult to keep my eyes open. It was difficult not to fade out and start paying attention to other things. This is the effect that it had on me. This is a waste of time in a way, especially if it did really take like 3-4 days of rehearsal. In that amount of time, the queens could have done incredible things that didn't have to be this musical, this, you know, shout out to RuPaul's songs so that she could get a little bit more money, because apparently, you know, the millions from Drag Race, and then, you know, the hundreds of thousands that she gets from licensing her trademark name to World of Wonder, and the fracking, and it's never enough money. She needs a little bit more millions. So, you know, we get more of this kind of thing all over again, which is really uninspired. It's really uninspired. This was a waste of time. It was a waste of talent, because you have 7 amazing queens in there. They could have done so much better. Nevertheless, this is what we get. Top cringe for me was Leland on stage. That was top-notch cringe. Apart from that, the only enjoyable moment that I had was from Willow. Willow was lucky because she got a very good part. She played it very well as well, but she got a very good part. So, you see, it's not only your ability to actually perform, it's also being lucky enough to have a good part and not being swallowed by it. Like, for example, for me, Boss Code was not necessarily that bad. I mean, the musical was bad, which made every queen look as if they were doing bad, but it was not that bad to deserve to be in the bottom two. Surely it didn't help that she had a center stage and she didn't deliver the way she was supposed to be delivering, but still, I don't know. This thing was... It was boring. It was really boring. What do you guys think? Let me read some comments. Barry Thord, you definitely haven't seen the social media one. Which one was the social media one? Was it the Sweatsicle? Yes, it was the Sweatsicle. Damien, people are calling this the best Rusical ever. Well, those are the moments in which I'm kind of proud of considering myself a little bit of an outcast from that point of view, because this was really boring. I mean, if you want to watch a proper Rusical, a good Rusical, a funny Rusical, watch Under the Big Top from Canada Season 2. Watch that. I will promise you, you will have fun. You will have fun. And if you're bored, the moment you get bored, you can switch it off and move to something else. Really, no hard feelings. Go watch that. It's a better investment of your time. Alex DG, do you have a favorite Rusical? Which one? Under the Big Top and the first one, Shade. That was really top notch. They are lucky they had such a good Rusical as the first one, because that opened the doors to do so many others. Mario, without the plugs toward RuPaul's song, there would never be a parody album by the Delusional Queen. I'm still working on that new song. Jules, Leland was cringe on toast. Donny, are you delusional? This was like the best Rusical ever. Define best, because they are not even singing. So define best. I mean, if you were entertained, more power to you. But calling this the best Rusical, it's not just like, it's not an objective statement. Let's say it like this. Guido, my friend said it was the best one ever just because of the budget. Well, no. Ferret, you're making it sound like it's the worst thing ever, but it was honestly not that bad. Well, I am surprised that so many of you like it, which is, I mean, it's good for you if you liked it. I probably would have gone to getting an enema. That would have been more fun to me. This was really annoying. It was really boring to me. Arno, Bosco said at Roscoe's, her edit was basically like Daya said to her, here, hold my edit, you can have it. JP, I think the reason you ate it so much, don't use ate, that is a strong word and it implies that you are very invested. That's my problem with this Rusical. I was not invested, not even enough to eat it. It's because Mamaro's money, hungry Botox-filled face, it was just fine, that's all. Barithord, I mean, it was the first one I've seen. Oh, okay, not stoned. It usually has the opposite effect on me. Blazing, Leland should have been replaced with Ginger Minch in the Donald Trump costume. That would have been genius. You had a perfect opportunity to bring back some queens. That would have been genius. Arno, Anjira was very confident. It was the best, and shading the social media, the Rusical. Honestly, I need a coffee enema after this mid-ass Rusical. Yeah, make it a double. Make it a double, but we don't share. Sasha, the queens only sing when it's for storyline, like Adora versus Courtney, or Jen versus production, Cameron versus queens. It's unfortunate though, I wish they sang more. Me too. Even, I always complain that I don't really like the autotune and so on, but still, at least their voices, it's better than the ghost singers that we got for this Rusical. Who are these people? I was going through the credit thinking maybe I can find with, because the female voice, it was really pleasing, and I thought I heard that voice already. So I got curious thinking, who is this person? But we might never know. We might never know. Orest, I'm always bored with Rusicals where they don't sing. It doesn't need to be live, but I want to hear their voices. Yes, I agree. It adds to the experience. And I also like original songs. Like, they don't have to be 100% original, but maybe you can do a spoof of the songs from the Moulin Rouge. That, and do that. It would certainly be more inspired. Blazing, I heard that voice before too. I think it was from another Rusical. It reminds me, I don't know if any of you, if maybe I'm a dinosaur of the internet, but you remember a channel called The Key of Awesome? They used to make parody of songs before YouTube started basically, taking every parody and saying, I don't give a shit if it's a parody, you are not getting any funds for this, you're not getting any money. But they used to have this huge channel and they would do a ton of different it was so much fun. It was unbelievable. The production quality was off the roof. And there was this this girl that was singing a parody of Shakira and Rihanna. What was the name? I remember the lyrics. It was like, sorry I'm late, I was harassed at the gate. It was... shit. It felt a lot like that woman. So I was wondering, I wanted to know who was singing in this musical. Couldn't find it. Couldn't find it. The fans are way too excitable this season, calling Deja's lip sync at the level of, if not better, of Trinity K. Bonet. I'm every woman lip sync. Oh my god. Did we get a new wave of babies like 16 years ago for some reason? What year was 16 years ago? 2006. What happened in 2006? I don't know. I don't know. Norveg, yes, I also thought the same. The voice of the Green Fairy and Maria Trapp has to be the same. Yes. That was all. She was also in another one of Shakira parody. There we go. Absolutely. My God. My God. Nevertheless, I didn't like this musical. I didn't like it. It was boring. It was very boring. It was so boring that I couldn't even bring myself to actively dislike it. I was too busy watching paint dry. That was more entertaining. So, going back to the critiques, I'm going to skip the critiques because I cannot be bothered. This episode is just so boring to me. I cannot even be bothered to actually properly review it. But one thing that I want to say is that runway theme, and it was curious that it was named as if it was mirror. Yet, it doesn't look like this is the prompt that this was the prompt that was actually given to the queens. Because much like it happened on Snatch Game, that, we were told, we the audience, we were told that the runway theme was Holy Couture, yet we found out there were hints in the episode, but then it was confirmed in the Roscoe's viewing party that it was something you worship. So I think that the same thing happened in here. The suggestion that we get, the most suggestion that I see is that the runway could have been reflective material. But I don't know if anybody actually confirmed that it was reflective material, or at least that it was not mirror. But let me tell you something. I really don't feel like this was the prompt that they were given. At all. Best on the runway, Angeria, of course. She's a goddess, and based on the runway alone, I could have seen her actually winning this thing. Based on the runway alone. But of course we had storyline to pull, so Lady British was declared the winner, while Georgia's was put in the bottom. I guess it kind of makes sense. Maybe she wasn't expressive enough. I don't know. And of course Bosco, because if you make Lady win, you need to have Bosco in the bottom. And don't forget that Bosco has the chocolate bar. So, you can have your filler episode, you can have a little bit of shock value, and don't worry, because by the end of it, Bosco will be magically saved by the producers. Sorry, did I say the producers? I meant the drag gods. The drag gods have spoken. It's not chocolate. It's pubic hair. What the hell? So, another filler episode. What did we learn about the queens? In this episode, almost nothing. Were we entertained? Well, apparently most of you were, which, again, more power to you. I was really bored, so I hope better for the next episode. With that said, nobody went home. The next episode is going to be episode 13, and we will still have half of the queens in there. which of course means that it's time for a double elimination, either next episode or the episode after, episode 14. So one of the two episodes, two queens will have to go home inevitably, because by the end of it, we will have to have a top 4, one way or the other. I don't think we will get with the top 5 to the reunion. It wouldn't make much sense, especially because the lip sync battle for the crown is a format that still works. I know it's not as fresh as it used to be 4 years ago, but it still works pretty well. People happily tune in to actually watch it. People enjoy it. We do enjoy lip syncs. Personally, I like the live finale to be lip syncs. So I think they're going to keep that format, but it would be actually difficult to pull it properly if you have 5 queens in there. 6, yes, 6 would make more sense. But then again, the moment you start bringing a top 6 to the finale, maybe you should rethink your priorities, because, I mean, we used to add a top 3, which it was okay. Then we had a top 4, but with a lip sync battle, which still makes sense. Top 5, top 6, I don't know. I kind of miss... Do you remember season 12 when we had a top 3 and, you know, they were actually presenting one of our own numbers instead of battling against each other's, and we had, you know, such incredible things coming out of those lip syncs, and then a final lip sync with all 3 of them. It felt, I don't know, it felt fresh, felt really fresh. And this season feels moldy at best. That's my impression of it. So, who is going to go home? Well, for me, as I said before, everything that I said before still stands. Like, Deja has no storyline anymore. I don't know why she's even still there. And probably Diabetes next to Deja. It would be nice to see Diabetes in the top 4, because we need people to see that you can be shady. We need people to see that you can be even confrontational without being as confrontational as Candy Muse was, but still, you can be a drag queen on Drag Race, okay, and still have a job after it, and not being portrayed like the worst person on the planet, and still make it to the top 4 and still have a good reception. So I think it would have been kind of a missed opportunity. But to me, next to Deja, she's the most likely to go home. Now, before we move on to chit-chatting, I saw a super chat from Damien, £1.79. Thank you so much. How dare you suggest I haven't seen Under the Big Top? Oh my god. You better go rewatch it. Go rewatch it. Jules, when Bosco said at this point, George's is, oh yes, I completely forgot to go through that. Let's go through that. Because after, you know, all of the critiques, RuPaul asked, who deserves to go home tonight? And everyone said Bosco. And that I found kind of curious, because Bosco won 2 challenges already. So how could you come to the main stage and say Bosco out of the blue? I mean, they all realize that she is not exactly a lip sync assassin. But I mean, Georges was right there. And of course, how can they not notice the fact that she cannot really act, she cannot really sing, she doesn't bring any kind of versatility on the runway, she's basically wearing the same silhouette. Yes, she's a great lip syncer in one style of lip sync, but basically that's just that. So how could no one else say Georges except for Bosco? That is beyond me. That is really beyond me. So there's probably well, there must be a reason behind it, and probably the reason is that RuPaul was leaving so much for Georges, and they all know that such a thing exists as an archetype on RuPaul's Drag Race called the Young and Talented. So they thought, you know what, she's the only young and talented left. Maybe we shouldn't say that. Maybe it's this way, maybe it's not. But I found very curious that everyone said Bosco. Like, it made no sense to me. Blazing, Alyssa Hunter actually had a mirror look. I haven't seen it. Somebody suggested to check it out, and I wanted to check it out, but then I completely missed it. Sasha, the episode was so boring and shitting on Bosco that I got really pissed. My wife got pissed at me for hating every part of it. Well, I can tell you, we were equally bored. We were, looking at each other being like, okay, can we fast forward through this? Barathor, definitely they looked at Lady British and were like, yes, mirrors. Most queen referred to metallic reflective in their confessional. Yes, the term reflective has been used multiple times. Julia B. Angeria winning. In what world? In my fantasy world. She wins every challenge. Owen, I think the theme was reflective because most of the queens just had shiny materials, while Alyssa Hunter literally had a massive mirror in a look. Well, when you say mirror, you would expect the vast majority of the queens to wear some kind of reflective material that resembles a mirror. So probably reflective, but in a light gray color, like as if it's, like the silver coating of a mirror. That is what I would expect. When you say reflective, then I would expect different kind of materials that would reflect in different colors. Yes, of course we could get a mirror in there, because when you think about reflection, of course somebody is going to think about mirrors, but they wouldn't necessarily be the majority of the looks. So this is why I think in general maybe they didn't get mirror as a runway theme. Sebastian, Daya's outfit was my favorite. In my opinion, Angeria's new delusion looked kind of cheap. How dare you? How dare you? I'm joking, it's okay. Sebastian, Daya's outfit was my favorite. In my opinion, Angeria's new delusion looked kind of cheap. Did I just read this thing again? Yes, I did. Maybe I'm not over it. JP, Angeria's look at no mirror. Yes, but come on, they never take runways into account. They never take runways into account. So, this season is ranked best at IMDb. Yeah. My god. JP, do you think the producers Mamoru are getting bored of Georgina? Because they have been shitting on her recently. Well, independently of the way that they feel, she is the young and talented. She is there. She's been there for a long time, so maybe they're tired of doing their best to elevate her. Maybe at this point they cannot be bothered anymore. They need to start elevating other queens. I don't know. Ferret, is it confirmed that there are 16 episodes? Because it might be 18. I don't think they're going to take it that far. This is my best speculations, 16 episodes. We could still have 17. That's a possibility. A negligible one, but still a possibility. Arno, the bars are also plastic. Maybe I was the only one assuming it could be also real chocolate. Also, they were supposedly not allowed to keep the bars. I mean, Angeria confirmed it at... well, she didn't confirm it. There was a whole thing going behind it, but I covered it already. And yes, of course, the bars are not chocolate. They would have melted already. Where am I? Well, wait a moment. Let me put the other image in here. There we go. JP, I'm happy we never have to hear it's chocolate again. Thank you, producers and the drag gods. Me too. It's so cringe. Owen, if there is a double elimination, who do you think will... Okay, this we did already. I'm kind of behind with the chat, am I not? Yagi, they said on the Roscoe's viewing party that they hadn't seen anyone perform and didn't know how the musical turned out, so they just agreed with judges and said Bosco. Well, of course they didn't see the final edit. This is something that we see, they don't see it, unless it's an acting challenge, like the commercials, for example, that they actually get to see it on the main stage. Nevertheless, you know, when you give a judgment of someone that doesn't deserve to be there, I mean, it's quite convenient to say, yeah, based on this episode, but that is not really the question, you know? It should be based on what you have seen so far. Gregory, Bosco doesn't dance. She doesn't have charisma. She needs to go, and I think she will get the Utica edit. Well, let's not forget when they changed the judging in groups. Judging the queens individually instead of groups, only to give Bosco a win. So for me, she is already in the top because of that. She also had the gold bar. She also was the one sending Jasmine home. It's like Bosco is in the top 4, period. Arno, Angeria said they were supposedly to say it based on this episode. Oh, okay. Well, then it makes sense, but I don't know. They had no reference because they didn't see each other's performances and asked the judges. Okay, so it was basically bullshit. Honestly, if I was a producer, I would kick Deja out the first opportunity that I had. As much as a sweet and talented queen that she is, she has no storyline and she overstayed. I kind of agree with that. They could have done so much more. I mean, she can be shady. She has shown a shady side more than once. She can be funny. I think most of that was either it was edited out or they put emphasis on the good moments that she had, because she feels kind of bland from a storyline perspective. Like they put no effort in there. So many times we see Deja completely disappear during some episodes. There were, I don't remember if it was from episode, I think it was episode 4, 5, and 6. Deja completely disappeared. It was like she wasn't even there. Sen, I'm really getting bored with this season, especially this episode, that even though I watched the last half, I fast forwarded everything. I think it's kind of a drag race fatigue. You know, it's the fact that we've gone through 12 episodes and half of the queens are still there. It feels like they could have done so much. You have 12 episodes. You have the budget to do a ton of different things. And they didn't really deliver for me. Like this could have been completely okay if we were back in the logo days, you know, when they didn't have that much budget, they had to do the best that they could with the little that they have. It would have made sense. But now they are on VH1. They have a completely different studio. They have a ton of advertisement in there that can help them with their expenses. They get Emmys after Emmys. They could do so much. It just feels very lazy. It's not that I wouldn't necessarily like a 16 episode season, maybe even a 20 episode season, but they have to deliver and they need to have the right bunch of queens. Like, I mean, think of season 6, for example, or even season 5. Wouldn't you have liked to see 50% more episodes from those seasons? I mean, if the season is great and the producers are doing their work and the editors are instructed to create compelling storylines, of course I would like more episodes. Of course I would like it. But if it's not done properly, it just feels like you are kind of forced to go through it. Like you want to know how it ends, and you feel like, well, I'm almost there, I'm almost there, I'm almost there, but you actually never get there. And at some point, you're like, you know what? I will just watch the finale at this point because it makes no sense anymore. Berthord, I mean, do we really expect no one did the mirror from Shrek to Mirror Mirror? What do you mean by that? I don't think I got that. Romance. Oh shit. Chat, don't skip. I'm so behind. Romance, living in Bosco's line about Rue having an unhealthy favoritism for George's makes me think she might not be intended as a fan favorite after all. I don't know. I don't know about that. Facts speak louder than words. The fact that they completely, for me, you know, there are some things that for me are more relevant than others. And the judging, the fact that they changed the judging only to have Bosco get a win, for me, it was pretty telling. And that thing, you were born to be a moderator, when her performance was not really that good. I mean, it was just too much. It was just too much. Thaliel, who do you think, which queen has the best chance to win, and which would you like to win at this point? Well, for me, Willow is the most deserving out of the whole bunch. She is the one that I would actually want to see winning. They didn't give her a win this episode, though, even though it would have been a perfect chance to give her a win. Now, it might not be necessarily to push her down, because they had this whole storyline with Lady British versus Bosco, and they decide to put emphasis on that. So this might be one of the reasons. But it feels like they're kind of pushing her in the background a little bit. Her and Angeria. Now, if they rewarded both of them every time I think they should have been rewarded, we probably wouldn't even have a top 4 at this point. We would just have a top 2, probably a double crowning, and call it a day, because they're just on another league. For me, both of them are just on another league compared to all of the queens in there. But if I have to pick one, then that would be Willow. That would be Willow. With that said, who has the best chance to win? That it's difficult to say, because they consider the audience reaction, and I have no idea who the audience actually like. I mean, we all know that nobody wants Georgios to win. Okay, so we're left with 6 queens. It's still not that easy. Owen, why couldn't Deja be the young and talented? After all, she was born at a very young age. Because the young and talented is never a big girl in the eyes of the producers. We never had a big young and talented. Ever. Ever. Arno, very disappointed with the gold bard. Would have been very funny if Georgios would have had it in the finale. I was hoping for Georgios to have it. I was actually hoping for Georgios to have it. That would have been the gag. Like I was hoping for Candy to win season 13. I'm always in for the gag. Always. Damien, Magnolia Crawfish was robbed. JP, producers could make a double non-elimination premiere, double Shantae, and an episode with only the eliminated girls and one comes back. It's the shock value that it's killing the show. Yes, because it's used to actually replace proper producing. That's what I think is happening. Which is really a shame, because they have the resources. I mean, if you would get some people in there with some serious passion for the show, and, Randy and Fenton would start putting their foot down and tell VH1, listen, we are going to create this product the way we think it's best to create it. If you don't want it, I will sell it to somebody else. So until this thing starts happening, this is what we will keep getting. It's sad to say it, but it is how it is. Berthord, I meant the mirror with the face from the Cinderella that was also shady as fuck in Shrek the movies. Oh, okay. Jules, Willow is one of the most popular queens this season, and deservingly so. But I'm really waiting to see, when they release the polls on social media. I'm really curious to see the general reaction to it. Because, I follow Willow, but I don't follow Bosco, for example. So I have no idea what's the reaction to Bosco. I know that Willow has a very positive one. I don't follow Daya as well, for example. So I have no idea what's the reaction to her. Hermes, Willow will win this season. I hope so. She's the hero of the season. Angira and Bosco are probably in the top 4, and I hope Lady British is in there as well. I would swap Lady British with Diabetes. Lady British is giving me nothing. She is really giving me nothing. Her character is amazing, but I get nothing from Lady. I get nothing. So... Owen, at this point, production is strategic enough to not reward deserving queens like Willow and Angeria so they can return on All Stars. I'm prepared for them to crown Bosco. Oh my god, no. No. Not Bosco. Not Bosco. I prefer Daya. I prefer Daya. Daytona, the fan reaction at the moment seems to be in order. Willow, Bosco, Camden, Angeria, and Daya. Daya is the last one? Angeria is 4th? I must be out of touch. I must be out of touch. You know what? Let's take a 5 minutes. I'll go get something more to drink and have a little vape.
You don't need to be chill. I don't ever play it cool. You don't need the right skills. Don't need the right tools. You just need the guts to seize it. To seize it in the middle. You don't exactly know it, but you know cynical times we had to endure. So many clinical lines, so little actual cures. When getting money's our religion and love is a need, we sit and watch while our country bleeds. I'm gonna stop trying to get off the hook, and I really don't care if everybody looks. Shake it up. Let me tell you, baby steps won't work. Shake it up, shake it up. Okay, it just might hurt. The city's like a bottle of sparkling wine. Before I pull it open, let's take some time. Shake it up. Shake it up. Shake it up. Shake it up.
And we're back. We are back. Oh, this season is never ending, I'm telling you. I don't know. Shake it up for the finale. For the lip sync in the finale. Can you imagine that? No, when they do the lip sync for the crown, they usually choose one artist, and then they play all the songs from the same artist. I don't know why they... This whole thing, I don't know what actually pissed me off so much this episode, because it wasn't necessarily the Rusical. I mean, the Rusical was boring, yes, but it didn't really piss me off. It was more like I didn't care. I think it was the whole chocolate bar thing. This all going around it, and then in the end they gave it to Bosco, which was the perfect choice when you think about it, because out of all the queens that we saw lip syncing, Bosco was the worst of the bunch. So, you know, the whole thing of trying to convince us that yes, it all happened by chance, it feels kind of a spit in your face, if you will. You know, like I have no problem when RuPaul did the whole thing with Candy Muse, you know, when she said, "Oh, Candy Muse, we're sending you home." Oh no, Candy, wait. I mean, it was camp in a way, but I wouldn't have necessarily had a problem with it. At least it's honest, you know. It's like, listen, okay, we want to keep you, but this whole thing with trying to convince us that it's random, this is what really gets to me. When they want to convince you of something that it's not necessarily real, like they want you to believe, that is what gets to me. Like, I have no problem in disagreeing. I have no problem in, you know, RuPaul coming out and say, okay, I'm sending you home and I am keeping you because I like you. You know, I can disagree with it, but at the end of the day, it's like, okay, this is a show. This is what I am watching. We can discuss about it. We can, you know, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really get to me. What gets to me, it's when they try to convince me of something that I'm quite sure that it's bullshit. That's what gets to me. It's the bullshitting. The bullshitting of the viewer. You know, it's like we are all 12 and we just take everything on face value. It's kind of insulting, especially for someone that has a reverence for this show. I mean, I have the same reverence to Drag Race as I have for Star Trek, so you know, I don't know. Jules, Bosco probably knew she had the gold bar. Rue would have told her early on. Well, it seemed when she opened it, it seemed kind of genuine to me. So I don't know about that. It's a possibility, could be, but I don't know. I don't know. At the end of the day, what matters is that she was the one who actually got it, which was incredibly convenient. That, you know. And then again, Bosco is not necessarily a bad lip syncer. She's bad when compared to the other queens. Because I saw some comments say, well, but Bosco can lip sync. Bosco is not absolutely, that is for sure. You haven't seen me lip syncing. So it's you, who are you competing against that matters. So the fact that the worst lip syncer got it, and she got it at episode 12, it's all, you know, we can run statistics on it. I can assure you it will come like 1 in 10, probably 1 in 15. It's Gregory, Willow winning a lip sync was bullshit too. Oh, she completely won that lip sync for me. She won it. Why do you think it was bullshit? What did you not like about it? Talia, I think the season could have a really strong top 4 since a long time ago. I will agree on that. I thought that the top 3 in season 12 was a really good one. Season 11 was kind of a mixed bag. Season 11 and season 10. Season 9 was really good. And from then on, I'm talking from the lip sync SmackDown. So the only top 4 that I didn't particularly appreciate was for season 13. That was overall very lackluster to me. I thought that the top 3 for season 12 was one of the best top that we had since season 9. Wait a moment. Chat is skipping again. Let me see. JP, who wouldn't be happy and emotional after that? I would love to see a piece of plastic bleached on a cheap gold paint. Season 12 was the best season in recent times since season 9. I agree, I enjoyed season 12 very much. I enjoyed it. It was the only thing that I didn't like on season 12 was how much they pushed on Britta. Because since very early on it was very pushed, like during production, not just the edit, like during production. But other than that, the casting was perfect, and you know, shitty pie. But other than that, the casting was perfection. The season was done so well, the challenges were done well, the queens had great chemistry. Season 12 is really probably after season 9, it's the best VH1 season so far for me. Gregory, need Willem in this season to read the production on the floor. You still haven't told me why you think Willow lost her lip sync. Like seriously, I mean, it's not personal, but I'm curious because to me she did perfect. To me, she completely embodied the song. The outfit was working, the wig was working. It's like she dressed up for that song, she prepared for that song, she got that song. For me, she did amazing. So I don't know, maybe I missed something, I don't know. Sebastian, I don't get what you don't like that much about season 14. I wouldn't mind 20 episodes. Queens are entertaining and the challenges are fun. Well, for me, the challenges are a little bit of a mixed bag. Could be better, for sure. The Rusical was a complete miss for me. The Queens, the casting is done very well. The casting is done very well. They don't necessarily have the same chemistry as strong as season 12, but definitely more than season 13. And it feels dragged. That's the problem with it. It feels like dragged on. It gives you this feeling that nothing is happening. It gives you this feeling that it's not even worth watching. Like when they do the judging and they fuck up all of the judging, you're like, okay, this season is already slow. The challenges are a little bit of a mixed bag. But then we get to the judging and we get a ton of bullshit too. It's, it's a mix of things all together that a little bit of the time, sorry, a little bit here and a little bit there, they kind of push the whole season into kind of deranged territory, if you will. Danny, people are never agree on the result of any lip sync at this point. I don't understand why bother arguing. Well, arguing is like when it implies a kind of aggressive energy, like you're arguing. I am open to other point of view. I mean, it doesn't take anything from mine. So, but I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious. Nothing tops UK season 2 to me. If we're talking about good recent season. Well, if we extend to other franchises, then I agree. Then I would add also Canada season 2. Damien, season 10 is my favorite VH1 season. I don't know. Wasn't bad, but I mean, compared to season 11, it was great. Berthord, I was trying to mention that for 5 weeks, and here we are. So my boyfriend is a huge Drag Race fan. He predicted every winner since Bianca from just 4 episodes. Well, props to him. Didn't happen to me in a long, long time. Like, the last winner that I predicted was Bob the Drag Queen in season 8. And that was it. And Alaska on All Stars 2. Those are the last ones. Sebastian, in my opinion, season 13 was the worst. And the least enjoyable queens we have ever seen. Well, again, it's not necessarily on the queens themselves, it's in the kind of chemistry that they managed to create. Some queens might work much better when mixed with another bunch than with the one that they actually got. But I do agree with you that overall season 13 for me as well is the worst U.S. season that we got so far. Not in the whole franchise. I mean, we still have Down Under there, but yeah. Do you think the whole winner thing is real? It's getting so much spread. Well, if it's just a rumor, then it's one of the most enjoyable rumors that I've heard in the past 6 months. I think it's a hard thing to pull because winners have so much more to lose coming back to the franchise. Like, they're risking a lot. Of course, especially the oldest winners have everything to gain by getting a new boost from the new fans, a new introduction to the new fans. But still, it's a little bit of a risk. Like, remember what Bianca said: if you do it right the first time, then you don't have to do it a second time. Because Drag Race, it's a very draining experience. I mean, maybe when they are there, then they can start relaxing a little bit, having a little bit of fun, but it's basically work. It's a huge investment, and when you are there, you are working. So, once you are successful the first time, Going on the second time, I mean, it's difficult to pull. It's a difficult thing to pull. Gregory, I think they both did an average job. Willow was trying to be comical and campy, but it stayed middle way on it. Yeah, there was a campy part in the lip sync. The one where Bosco had like the spirited look on her face. I remember that. Ben, I want Diabetes on top. I think she's a top. I think you might have a good chance in there. You can have a good chance there. Damien, Canada season 2 deserved the same commercial success as UK season 2. Yeah, I agree on that. It was so enjoyable. It was so enjoyable. It was the best season that I saw last year. I don't know if it also felt more special because it was the first time, was it? No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I would be lying. But I had just abandoned UK season 3 out of desperation. It was just upsetting me so much. And I tuned in for Canada, and it was such a pleasant surprise. I loved it. I loved it. JP, the only saving grace of season 13 were Gottmik, Denali, Utica, Flash the Veg, and the Swatsicle. We are going to God crunch our way all the way to season 15 after this. Oh, All Star 7, All Star 7. And Down Under season 2. I'm very curious to see Down Under season 2. Daytona, what's your wish list for the next Versus the World, since Canada has been rumored as the next host? Well, Canada would make the most sense because we had the most seasons out of it. Now, Holland, almost nobody watched it. España is rumored to be very, very good. Rumored. Well, I was told that season 1 was very, very good, so maybe it would be worth to wait until season 2 is out so you have more queens to choose from. So yes, if you ask me, for me as well, Canada is most likely to be the next host. Then after that, probably Spain would be a perfect candidate, and maybe after that, Down Under. I don't think so. I don't think so. Maybe Thailand. I would be gagged for Thailand as the next host of Versus the World. Which, looking back, it's a very good format. Because in the beginning I was like thinking, well, why are they choose this title like UK versus it's International All Stars, call it International All Stars. But actually going for this country versus all of the other countries, it kind of, which with each country actually hosting, the whole competition, it makes a lot of sense. I think it was, looking back, I think it was the best decision actually. Sorry for a long comment. You missed the other comment. Did I? Maybe the tag was not working. Or is it? Oh, here it is. UK versus Manila was supposed to be there in UK versus the world, but due to the Rona, the last minute had to ask Juju, which would explain our runways. I wanted to hear your opinion on that. Oh, this is what I lost. I don't know if they asked Manila. I don't think they asked Manila. because UK versus the World was filmed in March. Now, at the time, Manila wasn't already on social media complaining that, you know, the contract for Drag Den was better than the contract for Drag Race Philippines, hosted by World of Wonder. So, I don't know. I don't know. Based on that, I have to check when that actually happened. Because if it did happen before, then there is no way that the rumor can be true. If it happened after, probably. Manila would have been certainly a better choice than Juju. If only because it's been longer since we saw Manila on the franchise. Where's the chat? I don't know if this is a spoiler, but shooting promo for all winners leaked. I have no idea. I haven't seen anything on Twitter. Sebastian, Mara Mangold called Canada Season 2 boring and not entertaining. I gagged when I heard that. Well, boring and not entertaining, it's still a pretty subjective kind of judgment, you know? Which is not necessarily a bad thing, but, you know, if you want to discuss something, you should bring some objective statements, you know, so that we can confront notes. I thought it was great. Do you think the queens like Raja or Bibi would do well by pure talent with another winner? Being part from the first season. No, I don't understand the question. Do you think queens like Raja or Bibi would do well by pure talent with another winners? You mean in an all-winner season? Yeah, you probably mean on an all-winner season. That depends. I think on average, Drag Race has become a very difficult game to play. It's very, very demanding, much more than what it used to be. And I'm not just talking about how long it is to film, which is longer than what it used to be. And I'm not just talking about, you know, the investment, the dresses. There is also the social media point of view of all of it. This is something that we didn't have back in the day. It's so much more. Like, people expect so much more from you. And without really realizing all that goes into participating on Drag Race. So I don't think that they would necessarily do well all on their own. No. It's just a different game. It's a very demanding game. And they are much older. Now, nothing wrong with it, but Drag Race, it's not necessarily an environment in which you can shine only based on your maturity. That's the problem. If it was based on that, then it would have been much easier for queens like Raja or Bibi, but that's like a minimal part of it. And only if the producers decide to create a kind of environment or a kind of challenge in which this kind of maturity can actually shine. But being older, it's hindering. It is. I mean, think about working 15 hours a day, 5-6 days straight with only one day to stop. If you are in your 40s, do you think you're still going to be that fresh the morning after as somebody in their early 20s? It's, you know, it has become a game for kids in a way. Damien, what did you think of Buy Flop? What's buy flop? Have you seen the rumor cast for All Win? No, I haven't seen it, and I don't want to get any rumors about it. Thank you. I would like it to be a surprise. Daytona Drag Den was announced after UK versus the world. Yes, but was it announced after March 2021? That's when UK versus the world filmed. That is the date that I'm looking for. People thought Manila was asked because she was in London at the time of filming. Oh, okay. Manila is not coming back. Wake up, Pearl. Come on. The whole winter season will go from broken ankles to broken hips. By flop was Canada Season 2 girl group. That's what I said. Drag Den was filmed after UK versus the world. Yes, but that's not the question. The question is, was Drag Race UK, was Manila public? I have to check her tweet. Was her tweet coming out before or after they started filming UK versus the world? Because when that tweet came out, it meant that she cut ties with World of Wonder. So if it happened before, that makes it impossible for her to have been on UK versus the world. So let me check. See if we can get a date on that. August. Okay. Well, then yes, then it's a definite possibility. Then it's a definite possibility. It would have made more sense to me to have Manila instead of Jujubee. So yeah, it's possible. It's possible. With that said, after what she said, I don't think she's ever going to come back for the franchise. Like, ever. Yes, I get that question like every live stream. Anyone from season 2. Literally, anyone from season 2. Possibly on top of all of them, Eve 6000. Like, I want a huge redemption arc with Eve 6000. Or Mundane Matt, as I like to call her. Well, JP, I know that I liked it. I haven't rewatched it. It was very enjoyable. George, I would never understand what was so good about Canada Season 2. Well, it was a redemption season to begin with. I liked that we didn't have any judging bullshit. Like, you could see that, yes, of course, it's television, so they need to push a little bit of storyline here and there, but we didn't have critiques in Canada season 2. This was a huge thing. Like, you could watch all of the judging part of the episode and thinking, oh yes, that really makes sense. It was much like Thailand. It was feedback. You could actually see the whole panel of judges coming there and celebrating everyone and giving suggestions to everyone. And then by the end of it, you would have your tops, you would have your bottoms. So it already creates a different atmosphere. It's everything, it's more relaxed. Then it was camp. Like, there was this, what was her name? I called her Miss Mojo. She was, she was the Carlson of Canada, you know? And so to me, it was like a recurring gag. Like, every time I would hear her talking, I would think of Miss Mojo, and that kind of made it fun. And the queens worked so well together. It was such a nice bunch of queens. It just went so well. The challenges were really thought out. You had Heave in there crying out of nowhere. You have people pissed off because of it. It I don't know, it felt genuine. It wasn't necessarily the best thing ever. Okay, it was no season 6 by any means, but it felt genuine. It felt honest. While I was watching it, I felt like I was back 10 years ago, because that's exactly how I used to feel every time I would watch Drag Race. It made me genuinely excited every single episode that I watched. Like, genuinely excited, not just curious, okay? Not just interested in seeing what one specific queen would do. Genuinely excited about everything. Everything. It was really good. It was really good. Oh, from Holland, Thailand, US, UK. Oh, so you're asking me which cast I would put in Canada versus the world. Well, I haven't watched Thailand and I haven't watched Spain. I haven't finished Italy and I haven't finished Down Under. So you're probably asking the wrong person. But I wouldn't mind from UK. I wouldn't mind seeing Veronica Green actually getting a proper chance. Of course, she's never going to compete because she almost went bankrupted after preparing for season 3 again. So, there's that. I don't think I would like to see anyone from Down Under. Not yet. I am still recovering. I would like to see some queens from Thailand from season 1. I would like to see Jaja again. Like, she ended up being my favorite queen ever from Thailand. She was just so fun. So I would like to see Jaja. Absolutely. That is without a doubt. Jaja was, I don't know, has anybody seen Thailand season 1 in here? Or am I the only one who actually watched it? Damien, Tracy Melkor, yes, that was Miss Mojo. That was my Miss Mojo. Flania, I watched Thailand. So, Jaja was your favorite queen as well from Thailand, am I right? Oh my god, George. No. No, my god. Oh, I haven't read your comment, sorry. I don't think we would ever agree. For me, Canada Season 2 was down under level. But it's okay to have different opinions. Well, down under level? I mean, Down Under had this judging completely fucked up. There was a piece of shit of a contestant in there. It was filmed in like 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, and edited in a month and a half. So they didn't even have time to do that properly. I mean, these are objective things. How can you tell me that it was down under level? Objectively. Now, if you tell me I enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed it down under, which is 0, that I can work with. But don't come to me and tell me it was down under level. Come on. Come on. Did you watch Spain season? No, I didn't watch it yet. I haven't watched it yet. JP, if you want an Asian person to like something, just do this. Make them feel nostalgia. Oh, yes. Yes, that works with me. Damien, Canada's Drag Race Season 2 was gold. You see? Damien has taste. Damien has taste. Barathord, I also wanted to mention that you have some beeping in the background of your voice when you speak on stream, like washing machine finish sound at all times. Oh my god. Do I? It's probably my chair. Let me wait for. Is this the sound that you hear? Because if this is the sound, it's my chair. I keep moving on the chair. If you mean that. Yes, it's my chair because I keep moving. I cannot stay still. You know, I try to stay still like when I do the review, because then I will need the audio for I will cut it and make it into an episode. So I try to, like, you know, stay still, not make too much noise, but when we chit chat, I kind of move a lot. I cannot stay still. I just cannot. Never could. Blazing, George is just being dramatic again. The only season that was down under level was UK versus the world. UK versus the world was better. Comparing Down Under to Canada Season 2 is like comparing the worst judging ever and the best judging ever. It was the best judging ever. Like, it was Season 1 level of judging. If any of you ever watched Season 1, you know, the one with those beautiful filters. Yes, work. I respect your opinion, but for me, Canada Season 2 was like the rusical in this episode. Oh, Lord. No. No. Well, let's put it like this. At least with the rusical, I had to survive for 10 minutes. If you watch the whole Season 2 feeling like that, then I don't envy you. Canada Season 2 was just way too boring to watch. Nothing was happening without Eve 6000. It was a bad decision by production to send her home that early. With that, I would agree with you. She was messy. In a good way. She was messy in a good way. But you see, the problem I can explain for everyone. George is kind of a messy bitch. He leaves for the drama. It has to be drama, like drama, 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 more drama. So if he doesn't get drama, it kind of gets soft in a way. So if there is no drama, it's not worth watching. I, on the other hand, can appreciate other things that are not drama, like proper judging, proper feedback, seeing, the queens have some genuine fun with each others instead of tiptoeing around while screaming sisterhood and whatever. I appreciate all of that. So I think I hope that's an accurate reading. Which queens would you like to have in All Star 7? Some rumors are saying that the calls started. Denali. We need to have Denali as soon as possible. I need to cleanse my mouth, so I need some good Denali in there. Don't stop moving. Well, listen. I'm trying to stand still, okay? Because I have a reclining chair. So, and I have an L shape desk. So that's why you hear the noise. I watched season 1 and Rebecca Glasscock was a hot dude. Nerdigans, Canada's versus the world sounds like it's happening, and Canadians' laws won't allow Ru to host. Only Canadians can host a show. Really? That sounds like a very strange law. Like maybe it's on national television? And they have like special rules for national television, like state-owned television. This is what I mean, like state-owned television. Orchidoo, do you think they've already wrapped filming on All Star 7 at the rate they are pumping seasons out? No, All Stars usually gets filmed after the usual season. Now, rumor has it that they anticipated filming since they also anticipated doing casting. So usually the normal season usually would have been filmed between the end of June and wrapped up by July. Usually, and then All Stars with August and maybe even a couple of weeks from September. That used to be the schedule. Now, rumor has it that since now casting call ends in January and RuPaul has to find time to fly around and film 11,000 seasons, that the normal season actually starts filming by the end of May. So they would do end of May, June, probably the first couple of weeks from July, and then immediately on All Stars. So that by August, filming has wrapped on both seasons, and they actually have time to edit both of them. Danny, I used to turn on for shows like that for pure competition and was shocked to learn that people genuinely enjoy the drama. I do enjoy the drama as long as it doesn't become too violent. Okay, I don't mean just physically, I mean verbally. Like, I appreciate shade, I don't appreciate verbal violence. I just don't like it. I don't know, it upsets me, so I don't want to be exposed to it. But I do appreciate shade, like what happened, for example, in this episode with Lady British and Bosco. That was a kind of fun drama that I enjoyed. What happened with Tamisha and Candy, for example, that was upsetting to me. It was really upsetting. And when we had in this season, we had that kind of fight out of nowhere between Jasmine and Maddie. I wouldn't call it upsetting, but I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. Not so much to upset me, but I didn't like it. Arno, there is a funny little story behind why they were so orny. They tell it at Roscoe's. You will like it, I promise. I will watch it. I will watch it before going to sleep. Gregory, have you seen Pearl's latest makeup video? She is ready to be forgiven by the drag dogs and be called back. She has something to teach to these new young and talented girls. I watched the video actually, because Pearl is one of the few queens that I actually subscribe to on YouTube. I watched it, but I didn't watch through it. I really went, I fast forwarded through it because I wanted to see the final look. I wished she would do one of those escort fails videos. that was a ton of fun to watch. And it also normalizes the job, which is a job and needs to be recognized as a job. So I'm really waiting for a sequel to those videos. Nerdigans, Canada doesn't want Americans to steal Canadian jobs. Yeah, that sounds very nationalistic coming from Canada. Sebastian, what is your most anticipating season? The ones that I'm waiting for the most? At the moment, Canada season 3. Believe it or not. Yes, work. I didn't watch every episode fully of Canada season 2. It was too boring for me, but I let it run in the background while doing something else like cleaning. I can relate to that. I do that too. When I'm not entertained but kind of curious, I do that too. Flanny, I had to look up season 1 Thailand Queens because I watched it back to back. I prefer Aname Wong, Great Gatsby Couture. It really went perfectly with her name. Well, yeah, Ane was good. She was good. But Jaja is the one that I had like an emotional connection with. Like she was so much fun. She was so much fun. No, I cannot. I don't want to say it. No, I will not say. Maybe there are people who want to watch it, so I want to keep it as a surprise because it was something that it wasn't spoiled for me. So when it actually happened, I was gagging. So, but you know. Fulani, I would be happy to see one of the top queens from Thailand. They need to showcasing Drag Race, period. They don't get enough, like, oh my god. You know what we should do? Like, when season 14 ends, there is like, I think, a month, maybe, before they start with All Stars. So maybe we can do like a thing, like, okay, when the season ends, everybody watch Thailand if you're curious enough to watch it. Then after that, I will start actually discussing and say things because it's a very good season. Like, I don't know if season 2 is as good as season 1, but season 1 is a very, very, very good season. It's something that you don't get anymore from the US, for example. So if you watch a good season and on top of that you are also not spoiled, it's literally a mental orgasm. That's how I felt about it. Maybe Canada didn't grant RuPaul a fracking visa. Also, come on. I mean, one thing that I like about the international seasons is to see other hosts. Okay? I don't want RuPaul in every franchise. I don't want RuPaul judging different cultures. I want people from those cultures judging their own culture. Okay? I don't need to see Canadian culture through the American eyes. I don't need that. I already have a ton of that. You know, let people from their own cultures judge themselves because they know the meaning of things. Like, I'm already pissed that we have RuPaul in Down Under and RuPaul in UK. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, yes, Ru needs to get a check, so in that kind of way, it makes sense. But one thing that I really do enjoy about Canada is that we don't have RuPaul in there. We don't have Michelle in there. That's one thing that I do appreciate. I mean, we would never have characters like Miss Mojo if we had Rochelle in there. Sebastian, I don't get why people enjoyed Tamisha versus Candy fight. It was literally upsetting to me. It felt really uneasy watching it. Yeah, I feel the same, but again, it's different sensibilities. Like, there are things that I watch that my partner thinks are very upsetting, but to me, it's like it's a personal thing. I'm just really sensitive to violence, like proper violence. Did you see the video of Pearl telling? Yes, yes, I saw that. That was I was talking about before. It was so good. It was so good when she talks about, you know, there is a moment I can explain it, like, for if you haven't watched it. Basically, she recounts one experience when she was escorting, and she was broke, and you know she had to do things, and the person she was supposed to do things with, the co-worker, okay, was not collaborating. And she has a way of telling this thing, like her expressions, they are very telling. You need to watch it. You need to watch it. Like, if you have nothing to do later on, go watch that video from Pearl. It's literally that good. JP, who cares? It makes sure Mamaru doesn't judge Canada versus the world, and that is a win for me. Well, I find it curious. I find it very curious. I mean, I'm happy of the consequence, but still, I find it kind of curious. Like, that's something that I would expect to hear from kind of very nationalistic state. You know, that doesn't really match with the mental image that I have of Canada. Did you see that there is a disqualification in season 2 of that? No, don't tell me. Don't tell me. I don't want to know. I haven't watched it yet. Can you make a watch party? I would like to watch and be able to kiki too. Well, it's technically it's not legal. So what I could do, it's a commentary party, which means you would only hear my commentary, and your job is to find the episode for yourself to watch. Like, you can subscribe to VH1 for free. There is like a free week that you can get, and you can watch it live, you know? So everyone watches it live on his computer, and then you have a voice chat. Flan, it was probably 3 years ago when I watched, so I don't recall who I felt connected to, but I'm willing to watch it again. It was really good. It was really good. George, España would be forever the best franchise. Not even Thailand is coming close. It's just that good. I'm going to... What do we do if it's a shit season? What happens if I watch it and I think it's a shit season? Let's say it like this. If I watch España and it's not better than Thailand, then you will have to give it to Weasel. a couple times. Which winners are the favorite of Mr. Invisible? Jinx Monsoon. He loves Jinx. I mean, I like Jinx as well, but she's not my favorite winner. He loves Jinx. Like, he is, everything is Jinx. Like, he managed to find a video. I don't know how he even found it, because it's on a channel of a guy, a random guy, in which there was Jinx Monsoon playing a Karen. Like, I am not even obsessed like that. I mean, well, yes, I do all of these things with the channel, which means, yes, I'm obsessed as well. He is just more focused in his obsession. Daytona, I think it's kind of weird that Brooke would be judging other alumni. Well, not as weird as... Well, not... No, that's not how you say it. Not much weirder than seeing Pangina compete. Sebastian, I know you don't like spoilers, so I won't spoil a name, but one of the queens from season 11 is rumored to be in Canada versus the world. I hope it's not the resident queen of Puerto Vallarta. That's what I hope. With that said, do I have a preference? Well, maybe Horny Davenport. Why not? It's been a while. Bear third. I admit you'd love to see Michelle making a clown of herself in Drag Race España. Yes, I would love that. I would love that. Because Michelle likes money. Like, Michelle likes money. Don't tell me she wanted to do España just because she's passionate about Drag Race. Day 15, I know you weren't invested in the episode, but I was so disappointed and mad at the lip sync song that remix doesn't pay justice to the original song, and for me both should have sashayed. I'm getting kind of tired of remixes. I don't know if they are cheaper, or I don't know if suddenly they decided that some songs are good but just too old and they need a little bit of shaking up, so they play the remixes. I don't know. This was a bad remix. This was a bad remix. Taliel, if you any of your favorite of the franchise, would you do something? That is a problem. You lost the verb in your sentence, so I have no idea what you mean. If you any of your faves of the franchise, would you do something? No, it makes no sense. You will have to rephrase that in English. Like, if I was a native speaker, maybe I could understand what you meant there, but I don't know. Daytona, if you look up Thailand season 1, YouTube is literally there, the full season. I know that season 2 is in there because we watched episode 1, so we watched it from YouTube. I don't know if season 1 is in there as well, but I'm gagged by the guy who makes the subtitle. Because sometimes he leaves comments in there and he explains everything. Like the cultural relevance of things, he explains everything. He's a god. Arno, regarding the Thailand watch party via Discord, I was thinking of a kind of commenting while watching. I thought it's kind of legal. Some do it via Twitch. Well, kind of legal is not enough for this channel because we have a ton of legal problem with the kind of legal things. And we already had a problem with the kind of legal that was actually legal, yet we still had problems. So when it's like kind of legal, no, we don't do that. We don't do that for obvious reasons. I mean, no. even if it's on YouTube. Because the problem is, if it's on YouTube, you can do a Discord watch party. It's no problem. But you cannot do it on YouTube itself, because you would get a copyright claim, probably a worldwide block, because it still plays as someone else's content. Felicia, WoW Presents Plus magically made Drag Race Thailand Season 1 disappear. The first time I watched, I didn't know they had CC interpretation. They did remove it? Well, remember, WoW Plus works based on your location. So if you would magically happen to find a way to mask your location, you could have access to all of the seasons. JP, España is not a shit season for sure, but saying is not even close is a bit too much. Yeah, George was exaggerating. Think Jinx Monsoon is at Roscoe's viewing party next week. Is she? George, we have a deal. Good. Watch it already. I'm tired of suggesting España. Ticks all the boxes on what you like from a Drag Race season. Great judging, great storytelling, fierce cast. Then I will pause on Thailand and watch España. Meet any of your favorite queens. Oh, okay. Where was the comment? If you could meet any of your favorite queen from the franchise, would you do something? This is interesting. So you're telling me, if I could meet any queens from the franchise, who would I do? Number one. Or if I could meet any of my favorite queens from the franchise, who would it be? Or number three, if I could meet any of my favorite queens from the franchise, what would I do with them? It's probably who would you like to meet? But I also like the variant of who would you do? So we're going to go with who would you meet? I don't know. I am way too old to have a fixation on one queen and one queen alone, especially when they are all so different. But I think that it would probably have to be Laganja. She has a reputation for actually sitting down and chit-chatting with her fans. Like, not like, okay, did you pay for the meet and greet? Did you pay the $50? Okay, then go in line and you get a selfie for 10 seconds and an autograph on the merchandise that you have to have bought right here, and shit like that. She has a reputation for actually, taking a moment, smoking a joint together, have a nice conversation. So it would probably have to be Laganja. Of course, I would like to meet I would consider myself lucky to meet any of them, even Horny Davenport. I don't know what's with me and Horny Oh, because I saw a post on the cringe subreddit. That might be. Sebastian, what is your most underrated Hurley eliminated queen? James Mansfield. It has to be James Mansfield. For me, it's Orny Davenport. She's called Horny Davenport. I get what you mean. I can't get myself to watch anything with subtitles that isn't with English language. It feels like unnecessary work. It's not necessarily unnecessary work, but it's not something that you can just sit back and watch. Okay? To me, it feels like I'm back in the day in which I still had to learn to process the English language on a kind of unconscious level. Like you need to put active work in order to follow it. So for example, I cannot, one of the problems is the fact that you have two different inputs. Okay, so your ears hear one language with one specific sounds, but your eyes are reading another language which had other different sounds, which I know it feels like it makes no sense, because of course if you're reading there are no sounds, but there is a part of your brain in which these sounds are actually played even if you don't hear them. So it creates kind of a cognitive dissonance, which makes it more tiring to follow. Like it was very simple for me, for example, back in the day, watching movies in the English language with English subtitles. Even if I didn't understand everything, even if I didn't know the meaning of the words, it was much easier because it was the same language. But with Thailand, for example, I would hear one language and read in another language, and none of these two languages are my language. So it's something that you have to have a fresh mind to watch it. Takes more time. I find myself many times pausing or watching knowing that I'm missing things because I phased out for a moment. I paid too much attention on a performance, or too much attention on a dress, or too much attention on something that was on screen that was not the subtitles. So, who's your favorite queen of Puerto Vallarta? None of them. None of them. But I can tell you who the least favorite is for me, which is going to be Shangela. She made a whole photo shoot bullshit to cover up what happened in there, and it was in such bad taste. It was in such bad taste. No. I was very, very disappointed. I was very disappointed. I mean, if you did something that you were not supposed to do and you don't want to apologize, what you can do is either you pretend like nothing happened, or you can even take it a step further and try to actively what's the word? Cover it up. Trying to actively cover it up, which is even worse than pretending like nothing happens to me. D15, I'm dead at how the quiet, shy, and mannered Lady Camden told them to all fuck off with such a mean mug, and still being portrayed as a dainty woman who keeps her feelings for herself. Yeah, you know, the strange thing with Lady British is that she's a person, okay? The man in there has a personality, which we don't see. That person is interpreting a drag queen called Lady British. But we don't see Lady British. What we do see is the character that the person which is portraying the drag queen has decided will be the character that people will see on television, which is the third level. On top of that, you also have the judges who decided to give us a fourth version of what we are seeing, which is the quiet and shy and mannered and introverted version of Lady British. So it's a clusterfuck. It's basically a clusterfuck. I stopped asking questions. I'm like, when I see Lady British, I'm like, yay, Lady British. Yay. That's it. Answer all of that. Yes. What did you expect? Damien, Pangina arguing with people is the funniest thing to me. I don't know why. Me neither. Me neither. I'm so sorry, but who's Alexis Michelle? What was your favorite Roscoe's moment? What do you mean, who is Alexis Michelle? She's the Subway fish. How dare you? How dare you? What's your favorite Roscoe's moment? Um, I cannot recall it, but there was a guy who was being super shady in when asking a question. I think it was when Angeria was there. There was a moment in which this guy asked a question, but he asked it in a way I can, for the love of me, I cannot recall what it was. But he worded it. Oh yes, yes, it was. He was such a bitch. He said something to the lines of, um, "Last week, Mo Hart was here, and she spent all of the time playing on her phone. So my question for you is, have you ever met someone that you looked up to and then you actually meet them and realize that they were not what you were expecting?" It was so shady. It was so shady. The guy was pissed. Like he was pissed. It was like he was there at every viewing party. And still, the week after, he was pissed about Mo. That was give them an Emmy. Oh no, you don't get an Emmy for YouTube. Well, whatever you get on YouTube, give them that. George, I thought Georgia should have won the Rosicle. Oh shit. How delusional am I? Well, you're horny, maybe. Maybe that's the point. Funny, it's not just a closed caption, it's understanding the cultural aspect to choose the right way to say it. That's why fan subs are a little better to me. Well, the guy who did the subs from the version that I watched did an incredible job. Like, he literally spent time explaining. Like, at some point, there was a runway that was inspired by movies, and it was Thai movies. So he actually spent time explaining what was the subject of the movie and the relevance of the topic in the culture. So he did an amazing job. I was watching season 14 with a friend who doesn't speak English, and the subtitles in Spanish were so off that the meaning of what the queens were saying were so off the meaning of what the queens were saying. I couldn't believe it. I can believe it. I can believe it because it does happen. It happened with Drag Race Italy, for example. There were moments in which I literally have no idea what the fuck was going on. But with Thailand, I can confirm. Subtitles were great. Talia, Aja and Thoji could go so much far if the production didn't fuck them over. Well, Thoji kind of had a storyline, and that's why she left. Aja did very well when she came back for All Stars. Like, she did really well, career-wise. Who cares about the competition? When you go on All Stars, it's all about career. Unless you're Alaska. In that case, it's about competition. But Aja didn't, like, commit career suicide after that. Like, she completely fucked up all of the goodwill that she managed to get in All Stars. I don't think I recall everything that happened, but there was a ton of stuff. E15, thank you for agreeing that it's a bad remix. None of my friends agree with me. The song is one of my breakup song, and to see two fuckbots unable to my god, come on, don't say that. Don't say that. We are not in your living room. We are a ton of different people from a ton of different ages, cultures, sexes, and we are not in the living room. Let's try to be a little bit more political about it. You didn't like the lip sync. You didn't like They didn't convey emotions to your liking, okay? Let's say it like that. Sebastian, you skipped my question, did I? Blazing, you mean Aja burlesque rap artist? Yes, that's exactly who I mean. Where's Sebastian? Where's Sebastian? I asked it. You asked me what's the most underrated early eliminated queen for me. That's the last one that I see. What's missing? What's missing? Nope. You phased out. I got that one. There we go. Burlesque rapper. I don't think she. It's not she. Asha is they. I don't think they call themselves burlesque rapper. I think that's a Reddit thing. All of the queens left except Bosco can lip sync their ass off. How are they going to justify a double sachet? That's going to be difficult. That's going to be very difficult. Like, you know that if there really is a double sachet, Bosco is not the one winning against two other queens. It has to be someone that's really good at lip syncing. So my best bet would be the young and talented Georgina. That I could perfectly see her sending Deja and Daya home. I could perfectly see that. I could see Willow do it. I could see Angeria, depending on the song. If she has an opportunity to emote, I could see Angeria as well. Camden, I'm not so sure. I am not so sure. She's kind of a wild card when it comes to lip sync. Like, if it's a good song for her, if she knows what she's going to do and she doesn't feel like it's a lost cause, then she can turn out a performance. Aja is a she-her. Did she transition completely? Like last time I checked, she was fluid. So why do you think Isis won over Lupithia? I haven't watched the last episode of Canada Season 2. I keep it as a jewel for the hard times. So I cannot have opinions over things that I don't know. I still like Isis more over Lupithia. I think she's more versatile. And she served incredible looks. I asked if you don't think a little biased about opinions on the Rusical, because it was all about Lady British, the #1 enemy of the channel. Lady British? No, we love Lady British in here. That's why I call her Lady British. Otherwise, I wouldn't even call her. I don't think she necessarily deserved a win. Like, if we are basing it on performance of the Rusical alone, Willow should have won that. No, I don't think I'm biased because I didn't like Lady British. She wasn't bad in the Rusical. She was actually one of the best ones. Felicia, if you're going to watch España, watch Marta Mama, who explains what might have been lost in translation. Season 1 of España was so well done. The Snatch game was over the top. I need to check it out. Especially now that I have more free time. Since, I'm not going anywhere. Do you think you'll continue to watch Drag Race after this lukewarm season? I will always continue to watch Drag Race. Like, it would take like a very, but no, not even that. Not even that. I will always watch Drag Race. Surely, if there's RuPaul in there, I will watch it. With that said, maybe I will not finish it. Like, if another season 13 comes along, I will probably stop watching it. Especially if there is another iteration of the franchise that's on. And it's better. Yeah. Drag Race is an institution, at least in this house. A random bottom 3. That makes sense. Georgia surviving 5 lip syncs would be iconic. Well, she's young. She's talented. George, I thought you started using the Lady British from me. I don't know where I got the Lady British from. I know that it doesn't come from me, because I am usually a little bit more shady when I make up names. Or they have a reason, like they remind me of something. So I don't know where I got Lady British from, but it stuck. So I don't know, could be from you, could very well be from you, could be from Reddit, could be from the chat, could be from anywhere. I don't care, I just like it. Daya was the best in the Rusical. She reminded me of what she did for the talent. That's what I was thinking while watching her performance. Do you like Violet Chachki? I don't dislike her. She has her moment. But there are times in which she comes off as vile instead of just shady. So, and I'm not really into burlesque. So, not really. Not really. I mean, it was gaggy during her season because she was kind of shady, especially toward Michelle. It was like, I don't give a shit about what they say. They don't understand it. I was living for that, honestly. But, you know, sometimes she's rude. She gets a pass on a ton of shit. She gets a pass on a ton of shit. I mean, I don't mind a little bit of shade here and there, but it's basically like her whole shtick, this whole being, you know. That Allison, if it's true that Canadians must host, I think it has to do with Canadian contract rules. There's a quota. You can see it on Wikipedia. That's interesting. Oh, there we go. There we go. 4 broadcast stations. The CRTC, which I imagine is Canadian Television Supervision something, requires that 60% yearly and at least 50% of the programming daily that airs from 6 p.m. to midnight must be of Canadian origin. Yeah, that's a whole page. I'm going to read this one. Well, not here. I'm going to read it later on. For anyone interested, the page on Wikipedia is called Canadian Content, also styled as CanCon. Alicia, I will stop watching Drag Race if they bring back the damn chocolate bar. That's it, I will be done. It was such a fiasco. The whole chocolate bar, no. It was cringe, and it wasn't even good cringe. Would Yuki appear in any of the live streams? If he stops being lazy about it, I mean, I invited him. It's just that I think he goes to sleep. Well, I don't know if he will come. If he doesn't tell me anything, I will probably contact him again and ask him again to come. Gregory, didn't Aya use the same concept in the Rusical that in the RuPaulapalooza? The pink stuff? It was the talent show. No, I don't think it was the same concept, but she reminded me of that. I don't know what was it. They didn't even have the same wig. Daya was pink in the Rusical, and she lip-synced to Pink in the talent show. Or maybe it was a resemblance to Pink. That could be. D15, I want more ballads. I know I'm going to partake in some heresy, but I want to see Angie in the bottom so she can park and bark for us. I'm tired of this dance numbers. We need something a little bit more slow. I will agree with that. The Rusical, it was almost whole upbeat songs. Like it's nice to everyone. It doesn't even have to be a 50-50 kind of ratio, but like a slow song every three, a good ballad every 3 songs, that's already a good ratio for me, and it's long overdue. Felicia, I love George's. She's an excellent entertainer. What she lacks is education and life experience. Give her a few years and she will be the whole package. Well, you can definitely see that she dropped out of high school. And she dropped out of U.S. high school. So she definitely need experience. And good kind of experience. Good feedback. Because you can see that. And I'm not saying this out of malice or, trying to be offensive or hurtful or whatever. It's just like objective. You can see that. What twist would you add to season 15? Lip syncing against RuPaul. Lip syncing against RuPaul, that would be a hell of a twist. Since it'd have to be some type of twist, I would like to take inspiration from successful twist from Survivor or Big Brother that public audience liked. I agree with that. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. RuPaul said it herself. Apparently Violet was even worse during filming, but the final edit didn't show it. She was supposed to be the new Fifi initially. That would have worked great for me. She was perfect for that role. I remember that there was a lot of talking, especially in the confessional. I will never forget. It was a confessional from Mrs. Kasha Davis, and in the confessional, it was like I think episode 7, episode 8, or maybe even episode 6, probably episode 7. Where Kasha came in the confession and say, Violet is growing so much, she's maturing so much, I can see a change in Violet. And I was like, are we watching the same fucking season? Because nothing has changed at all. if All Winners is happening and Jada is there, you better have the chop in the stream with the mouses dancing, shitting on Paga. Oh shit. My god, there are so many things that I would like to do now that I have the computing power to do it. There is a ton of shit that I need to learn how to do it. It will probably happen next year. Considering my timing, it will probably happen next year. Damien, Lila McQueen is heavily rumored to be returning. That would be well deserved, but I would prefer to return as a RuPaul's makeup artist. It's a better job, if you ask me. Talia, you know that Mamoru cannot lip sync. Well, you can play some editing magic in there. You can do that. George, the change was not giving her screen time, so we don't see her act up, but I love Violet though. Well, I didn't see the change on screen. I heard a lot of talking about Violet's change, but I didn't actually see it. So, you know. And Kasha is professional, so she could have easily just said it because they asked her to. Season 7 could have the first villain to win a season, but the kids are not prepared for that. Oh no, it was way too early for that. Way too early. Well, we had James winning in season 2, which to me it felt like a villain was winning. Like when we had the top 2 of season 2, for me they were both villains. I was shocked that the 2 villains ended up in the top. Sebastian, I mean, Violet was right in the last Untucked when Kennedy and Ginger were shading them to the judges. Yes, I remember Pearl. That was one of the moments, because when I was watching season 7, I didn't like Pearl, okay? I didn't dislike her, but I didn't like her either. I didn't understand why she was there. I didn't see the point. She didn't really make any kind of impression on me. She was the cute guy pushed to the top. That's how I was watching season 7. But when I saw that Untucked, Pearl came out and said something to the lines of, well, just because you are asked to do some kind of things doesn't mean that you necessarily have to do that. Doesn't mean that you have to necessarily play the fucking game. You can also choose to be a real person. And that's when I started thinking, wait a moment. There is something more under there. That's when I started realizing that there was a whole new respect from Pearl that would develop over time, and started right there. I need to rewatch season 7. Like, I can genuinely enjoy season 7 now. When I was watching it, I was like, this is such a shit show. It didn't help that we were coming directly out from season 6, which to me is hands down one of the best seasons of Drag Race, possibly the best ever. So it didn't help the comparison, but when I was watching, when it was airing, I was like, this is such a shit show. What are they doing? They are killing Drag Race. Yes, I was that dramatic. I was like, they are killing Drag Race. Drag Race is finished. Blazing, when Pearl said you're all just me playing the game of production, I fell in love. Yes, that's exactly what I meant. We had Tyra and Raja won both, and both had villain edits. Even Evie to a certain extent. Well, to me, Raja had more the vibe of a kind of anti-hero. You know? The one that in the end manages to do all of the right things, but for the wrong reasons. Not necessarily a villain. I didn't get villain from Raja. Like when you compare it to the proper villains, you know, like Fifi in season 4, for example, you know, or Roxy in season 5. Tyra and Raven were so good in their season, but if they wanted, Jessica Pandora could be there without villains. Yeah, Jessica was amazing. Pandora too. But Jessica was really something special in season 2. So many queens were special from season 2. I really hope for All Star 7 that we see Jessica. Especially after the whole thing that happened in All Star 6. Like, and not just because I like to be right. I like to be right if I deserve to be right. Otherwise, I don't have a problem in being wrong if I get in exchange to learn something new. But, you know, it really looked to me like that whole thing that was going on with Jara, there was like the opportunity of All Stars. So I really want to see Jessica. Okay, listen, we're going to cut it short tonight because I'm kind of falling. Sorry. I'm kind of falling asleep on stream. I'm really, really destroyed. It's been a couple of heavy days. Nevertheless, if we want to organize like watch parties for Thailand on Discord, for me it's completely doable. Like we have game night on Friday. We could do it before game night. Like it's about 1 hour and a half before the time of the live stream. That could work. But I mean, if any of you is on Discord, like at the bottom of Discord there are all the live channels with the live chat, and we can definitely organize something. I would like that. I mean, I would be totally in for that. Why not? So we can organize that on Discord. That's a great idea. For everything else, I will see you back on Sunday. Since I'm not going anywhere, I will be back in here next Sunday, possibly more rested, possibly more prepared, and maybe we can also have a good episode. Let's also hope it's going to be a good episode. Thank you so much for coming. I will see you back next week, next Sunday, or on Discord if you decide to join. Thank you so much, and I will see you soon. Good night, everyone.